With Rudy Williams, and we're going to break down exactly what we know at this point on what has happened tonight. It's been a very eventful night. That's what happens when you have a rampage shooting going on at several different locations with several different victims. We're going to try and run it down for you. I'll start, Rudy, by telling you about the first shooting that we heard about involving the AutoZone store on Jackson in Raleigh, when we understand from a witness we just heard about in the last hour who was shot in the abdomen somewhere and was rushed to Regional 1. There you see the location in Raleigh where all of this seemed to have started, and then there were several more locations after that.
And we're still waiting to hear from MPD how many there were. Actually, we know that there were streets shut down all along Poplar, through the Midtown area, the University of Memphis area, Midtown area, Overton Square and Cooper Young were affected by this incident tonight. And lastly, in the last shots that you saw before we took a break just moments ago, in Whitehaven, at Hodge and Ivan. We've got new video of the arrest right now. It's something that we were not able to see earlier, but here it is on your screen right now. That shooting suspect in custody by Memphis police. The suspect is Ezekiel Kelly. He's 19 years old. If you can see there, being led across the street from a grassy, woody area by Memphis police. And we also know that state troopers are also involved in this area, as our Yvonne Thomas told us earlier. So I'm sure some of those officers are included there in the video that you're watching right now. But we had heard earlier in the evening this man, Ezekiel Kelly, 19 years old, was apprehended somewhere around 8:30 or 9 o'clock this evening. Correct me if I'm wrong in the control room, but I think that was about the time. We had so much going on at that particular point in time. And every resident in that area, in that neighborhood in Whitehaven, was told to shelter in place because police had identified where that suspect was, and they were in the process of arresting 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly this evening. So once again, Richard, as we were talking about before, we went on the air after our 6 o'clock newscast around 6:30. This had been going on possibly about an hour, maybe even more, around the rush hour time of day when this all started. With this coming to an end before our 10 o'clock hour, about an hour ago. So sooner than later, we all ask the question, how long will this be? But as we're covering these sorts of things and making sure that the community is safe, we came on the air to make sure that residents knew exactly where they should be, and also know that there was, which has been lifted, a shelter-in-place warning for all residents of the Memphis community, because police had no idea where the shooter was going or where this incident would end up.
But it did end in Whitehaven, as we've been showing you the video of the arrest of Ezekiel Kelly, who we might point out we also learned a short time ago, within the last hour or so, already had an arrest warrant issued today for murder one, separate from whoever the victims are as a result of this shooting rampage that started at the AutoZone. So he was already in deep, deep trouble with the law when this happened this evening. After that AutoZone, we know that there was another incident of shots fired near the U of M campus. There's the AutoZone shot. After that, there was an incident, we're not sure of the timing here, of at Patterson and Southern near the U of M area, that there was a shooting at the in the 900 block of East Parkway South. And then the last shooting that we're aware of happened near Poplar and Auburndale in the Evergreen area, in which a eyewitness accounts and what we hear from our reporter Rebecca Butcher on the scene, a woman was shot and killed, her body removed by the medical examiner's office just a short time ago. A rampage and random shootings that affected this entire city. As Rudy mentioned, the city put on shelter at home alert. A baseball game at AutoZone Park was suspended until tomorrow, postponed. People told to go home because of the shelter at home order. People escorted out of restaurants by managers, people choosing to stay in restaurants who had no idea what was going on. Same thing happening at churches around the city. A massive effect on an entire population that was a result of what happened here tonight. Let's go back to Yvonne Thomas, who's been at the scene here where Ezekiel was arrested. She's not far from Neely Road and Rains Road where the arrest took place. Yvonne?
Hey guys, you're absolutely right. We're maybe about 800 feet from Ivan and Hodge, not far from where that arrest took place. We actually got confirmation from MPD officers while they were on the scene that arrest took place further on down this road behind me. You can see there's only one officer still left at this scene, at least of what we can see. But boy, was it a different scene just minutes, 30, 45 minutes ago, even an hour ago. Very, very different scene. We saw Memphis Police Department cars, we saw undercover cop cars, but we also saw large vehicles and tank-like vehicles that were here in this area. And they were here for quite some time from what we could tell, investigating and gathering evidence. To be quite honest with you, I'm not even quite sure how large this scene is here on Sedgwick and Lakeview because the crime scene tape is so far back, and we've seen officers and police vehicles even further back than where we can actually see them. We only knew that they were there because of their lights. But definitely what a devastating day it is for many families here in Memphis and the Mid-South area. Not only did we see investigators out here, but we also saw community members that came outside just to see what was going on, because we're actually not very far from neighborhoods and surrounding areas. Many people were trying to actually drive through the crime scene, just not knowing that this is what police were doing and that it happened so close to their home. We even spoke to a gentleman who was here at this scene who told us, you just heard a sound not too long ago, that he was at that scene at the AutoZone, one of those scenes that many police officers were there as well, and he described seeing someone get shot. He also describes praying for that gentleman. He said he was there with his church and that there were several children nearby in the area, but that he's still standing. He's unarmed or uninjured at this point, but is definitely praying for the city. It's been a hard week, as we've been talking about. Again, just one officer here at this scene that we can see right now. If that changes, we'll of course keep you updated, but for now, I'll send things back over to you.
All right, thank you, Yvonne. We appreciate your hard work out there, and we are waiting, as we mentioned, a word from Memphis Police, trying to summarize everything that happened here tonight, get some official comments about that. But we do know one thing's for sure: it ended right where she was, there in Whitehaven, where the arrest was finally made. Rudy, let me bring you into this conversation. I think that. We got Brad Broders? Okay, let's go to Brad Broders, who is live at the Regional 1. Brad, what can you tell us about what you've learned where you are?
Well, Richard and Rudy, just the last couple of minutes ago, there was a heavy law enforcement presence. About 5 minutes ago, they have now left about 5 minutes ago, so no Memphis police currently at Regional 1. As you just mentioned, Richard and Rudy, we're still waiting on if Memphis police will have a press conference tonight, and if so, where. We've got crews across Memphis ready to be in position, including here at Regional 1. If that's where the news conference is or another part of Memphis, we'll be ready to go. Unfortunately, the Regional 1 Medical Center spokesperson could not confirm how many victims have been treated here tonight in direct connection to that active shooter who went on that rampage earlier this evening across Memphis, because this is a trauma hospital. It's a little hard to know exactly what gunshot victim came in specifically because of that active shooter that was across Memphis earlier tonight. So we don't have an exact word on that. I wish we could have passed that along. We have asked, just got word about about 10 minutes ago from Regional 1, unable to confirm how many victims have been treated here specifically. I'm getting some social media posts, unconfirmed, potentially from family members of victims who have been injured because of that active shooter tonight. But obviously, we are waiting to confirm that, facts, not fear. So we're not going to, mention that on air. But we are getting wind potentially of family members of those injured, affected tonight by this active shooter across the city of Memphis. Richard and Rudy, you've talked about it in the last 30 minutes. Again, Memphis is getting national attention, not for the right reasons, but as you saw that hashtag earlier, 901 strong. 901's hurting tonight, but there's also a sense of being 901 strong. Continue to monitor the latest developments, and if and when there is an update from Memphis Police, we'll bring that to you live at Regional 1 Medical Center. I'm Brad Broders.
Well, thank you, Brad. And the important thing, Rudy, is the bottom line is, for this event, this time, the perpetrator is behind bars, And when there were so many people who were concerned and so many people affected, not knowing where this guy was going, at least now we know that is one thing we don't have to worry about tonight.
That's right. You're absolutely right there, Richard. Some things that we do know for sure that you just said a moment ago. Ezekiel Kelly, 19 years old, has been arrested in connection with the shooting spree across the city of Memphis. We know that one woman, unfortunately, was shot and killed in the course of this incident. And we do know that the shelter at home or shelter in place warnings have been lifted so that Memphians can go about their lives for the rest of this evening if they're leaving work on the late shift from FedEx or wherever else they may be working, or you're getting ready to go to school and work in the morning with a little bit more safety and hopefully some more information as to what occurred on the streets across the city. Now, I'm going to let you do this because you've done a much better job at this than I have. We do know there are 4 to 5 crime scenes that exist all because of this ordeal this evening. So I'm going to let you cover those starting in Raleigh.
Yeah, there was the Raleigh shooting at the AutoZone. We believe that that person was injured and may have been taken to Regional 1 as far as we're aware of right now. Then we get a little less clear. We know that there were 3, possibly 4 more shootings according to Major Karen Rudolph with the Memphis Police Department. We're just not exactly sure the order of which and who may or may not have been hurt, but we do know that after the situation in Raleigh at the AutoZone, that there was a shooting at the 900 block of East Parkway South, another one near University of Memphis campus at Patterson and Southern, and finally the final one was at Poplar and Auburndale in the Evergreen area. That is going to pretty much wrap up our coverage here for tonight at least. Of course, we are expecting that statement from Memphis Police, and when that happens we'll have it for you on our morning newscast. But before we go, I just want to give our thoughts and our prayers here at ABC 24 for everyone affected, and that is just about all of you, Memphis. Whether you may have known the victim or may have been a victim or somehow know the suspect, whatever. A lot of people here affected. If you were at a restaurant when this happened, if you were at church when this happened, crime affects all of us. And never have we felt that more, I have to say, than we did tonight. Every last one of us affected by what happened here tonight, and only by one individual. So let's pray for our city, let's pray for each other, and let's hope that we can have the right attitude going forward to try and make some more serious conversations, have more serious discussion about what we got to do something about this. Don't forget that we're going to give you push alerts through our app, abc24.com. You just text the word app to 901-321-7520. You'll get alerts right away as soon as we get more information, and we expect to have more information from police certainly tomorrow morning, and we'll have full coverage throughout the day here on ABC 24. Rudy, that concludes, I guess, a pretty busy and a sad day for us here in Memphis, but I remain hopeful. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. We love Memphis, and our prayers and thoughts are with everybody across the city tonight.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good night, and we'll see you with more coverage as it is warranted.